Yeah. Here we go, Dan.
The Boy Scouts of America has an effect on thousands of young men every day. I am proud to be one of the few that has reached the highest rank in scouting, the rank of Eagle Scout. On average, only 1 in every 100 boys that are in scouting receives their Eagle Scout. Now, I'm not here to talk about why you should participate in scouting or have your children, but to explain how the Boy Scouts of America has made me into the person I am today. The Boy Scouts of America has had a large impact on my life in the values and morals it has taught me. The Boy Scouts motto is "Be prepared." Some might think that's silly, but if you have the proper tools and skills, you'll be prepared for anything that heads in your way. I remember back when I was completing merit badges towards my Eagle Scout and wondered why every merit badge had some sort of first aid requirement for receiving the badge. Even those that you wouldn't think of a way of getting injured had it, such as reptile and amphibian study. However, today I have a new point of view on it. The first aid wasn't in case we were getting injured studying that topic, but instead to constantly repeat it. So that in the event that we needed to use it, we would know how to, and bringing this whole topic back to the Boy Scout motto, "Be prepared." I'd like to share 2 brief stories with you in which I had to put my knowledge to the test. We took a trip with 4 adults and 4 Boy Scouts, myself being one of them, to the Boundary Water Canoe area. We paddled ourselves about 20 miles from the nearest civilization within the first 2 days. The following morning, we found a 40-foot cliff that we could jump off into the water below. We spent the whole day jumping off that cliff into the water. Towards the afternoon, we convinced one of the leaders to jump. However, as he jumped, he second-guessed himself and didn't jump out the 10 feet to clear the shallow waters below. As a result, he landed in about a foot of water with a jagged rock bottom. On the top of the cliff, we knew something went bad as soon as he jumped. We rushed down the hillside to his help, where another adult in the canoe was already helping him. We were able to get him in the canoe, and at that point, we could see the extent of his injuries. His ankle made a 90-degree bend on the right side of his leg. His ankle was popped out of socket, and it stayed that way. Knowing that we couldn't leave it that way from all the first aid taught in Boy Scouts, we knew we had to reset it. So there we were, 20 miles from the nearest motorized boat, resetting an ankle which none of us had done before. Now the second case, I was one of the first responders to the scene. A couple of my friends and I were coming out of the bar and we noticed a fight going down across the street. We didn't want to get involved, so we kept our distance. Before we knew it, one guy was on the ground and the others were fleeing the scene. I was the first person in the man on the ground. I tended it until the police got there. Some of my friends later that night wondered how I knew how to do that. I really didn't know what to say. At that time, I just felt like everybody knew what to do, but I was really the only one that wasn't caught up in the situation. I knew how to handle myself and assess the scene for people's safety, all because I was a Boy Scout. Using these 2 stories, I'd like to emphasize how the Boy Scouts of America doesn't get enough credit for the goodwill and the training that they embed in the youth of our country. The countless hours of first aid has really taught Scouts has really paid off for me. The Boy Scouts of America instills great values in the youth of our country, and along with the necessary first aid. Be proud to be a Scout, even though it's not always the cool thing to do. You never know when you might be your first responder to an incident, and these steps could mean whether the person will live or die or not. Thank you.
So I'm going to totally spot you out. Did you get emotional throughout that speech? I could tell. But you know what? It created even more credibility for it. So how long have you been out of Scouts? I'll start with the first question this time.
Probably I was in until my high school year of high school, my senior year.
Have you ever thought as once you get school and some other things in life kind of situated and in place, have you ever thought about becoming a leader yourself?
I've actually inquired about it once, and I didn't actually hear anything back from the troop. That was where I was living here, and I was surprised with that because, like, the whole time I was in scouting, they always say how they lack on the volunteers that they have, but I reached out for them and I didn't even get a response.
That's disappointing.
Yeah.
Okay, not my questions. Bitch.
I don't really have a good question, but I guess with the guy whose ankle was dislocated, I set and everything was fine?
Yep, we reset it, and then we
Canoed
canoed the next as close as we could to the motorized, where we could get picked up by a boat, and then we found another Boy Scout troop that had a satellite radio that was able to call our outfitter to meet us at this portage by the end of the day.
Wow.
It was this extreme teaching method. You just did it on purpose. So you guys.
Highly doubt it.
Was that your question?
It was.
It could be.
What's the coolest place that you guys traveled to?
Probably the canoe area in the upper peninsula of, the upper part of Minnesota, and then it goes into Canada.
And Brittany.
How many years were you in the Boy Scouts?
Since the first year you can start Tiger Scouts till my senior year of high
So
school.
when can you start Tiger Scouts?
I think it's kindergarten or
Mhm,
first grade.
mhm, I think
All the
so.
way through the school.
Very good. You have burning question.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the small? Well, that's small. Was the second guy okay? You kind of got emotional. I wanted to know.
For what I know. I mean,
I didn't hear your
he
question,
was-
Brittany. What?
Was the second guy okay?
Some guy
Oh,
punched him
yeah.
in the back of his head, and he was just out unconscious.
Oh.
I bet it hurts, as deeply involved in scouting as you've been for so many years, when you hear some of the controversy that seems to plague the Boy Scouts,
It
what-
definitely does.
Yeah.
They're starting to get a bad rap from all the controversy with the gay and
Mm-hmm.
lesbian issues.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you so much, Daniel. All right, yes, another round of applause for him. And Helen is up to bat. Ooh,